Oh, probably it's, oh, geez, hold on. There we go. Probably at some point going to need the camera on. Hi, everybody. Welcome in to the Rant with me, Pugs Moran, live from the Kelly Moore Memorial Studio in the beautiful E Gallery in Dallas's fantastic design district. We do this show every day, Monday through Friday, round about this town, noonish. It's a get together, if you will. It's talk radio done in a style that I just don't hear anymore. Haven't heard for years. It's conversational talk radio. Now, I know what you're saying. How can this be conversational talk radio when it's just you, a single guy, barking into a live stream every day? It's kind of a give and take. I'm schizophrenic. I have conversations with myself. And of course, we've got you, the chat room. The chat room people, the chat room. It's a big part of this thing. Been a big part of this thing for the 3 years that we've been doing it every day. And I appreciate you. I had a long weekend. We went through some shit last week, some really bad shit that I won't bring on the air. Just about the future of what we're doing here and all of that. And I had all weekend to kind of just hash it out and figure out what we're going to do. And I came to the decision that I have no clue what we're going to. I don't know what we are capable of doing. I'm trying to figure that out. Anyway, in the meantime, we're going to keep rolling. We're going to keep doing the show. I had said last week that some of the changes where I was going to try and do it more like a show where you could have guests and all of that. And that would be really easy if we were going to the cameras complicate things. That's all I'm saying. The cameras are beginning to complicate me being able to do what I want to do. So we'll have to figure all that out. But we are here for the time being. Thanks so much for allowing me to do this. Say hi to the chat room. Early people in here. We got Byron. We got Mikey D. We got Peter. Jeff Ballard's here. Barney, of course. Taronda. Come on, everybody. Let me see who else we got. Who was first? Who was first in? I'll go all the way back to the beginning. Peter. Looks like Peter gets the win today, at least on my side. Because I don't have, maybe somebody was talking earlier in one of the Facebook chats, but when I merged it, Peter is number one in today. So thank you, Peter. Sports Bras is in the chat. Sports Bras says, howdy chat. Anybody see Pugs on The Dark Companion? It was really good. Thank you. How you guys, it's already out? That's pretty quick. Yeah, so yesterday, we didn't do a show yesterday because I was busy doing somebody else's show. I was cheating on you. I was out there philandering. I was digitally philandering here. But it's sorry, couldn't say no. It was Mike Reiner's podcast, Mike Reiner's thing. The legendary Mike Reiner. Your Dark Companion. It's such a cool show, man. I became a fan when I was living in Chicago of the first version of Your Dark Companion, the first kind of little digital thing that Mike did about 3-4 years ago or something now. Not sure. And I can just remember it was during the time when I was doing all my running in the woods. I always talk about when I lived in Chicago, I used to run in the woods. It was just a thing. They don't have woods here in Dallas. I can't run in the woods. I used to like it. But I used to put the headphones on and I used to listen to these in-depth, one-on-one conversations between Mike Reiner and his friends. It's basically, and his friends are all like really cool, interesting people that we all also know. So it was really great. And then he went and did The Freak. And then I was like, oh, but there's no more Dark Companions? Because those were really great. And they showed a different side, at least to me, of Mike Reiner's well-roundedness as a broadcaster and as a human being. So I'm glad it came back. And it came back. And I've been on twice now, which, oh my God, you have no idea what that means. I feel like that's special. Because although we do the same thing, he does it much better than I do. He is much more accomplished. He is much more. So I have this admiration for the people who've been able to do things that I've also tried to do and fallen short. So just the idea that I was invited once to sit down with him and spend a couple of hours just chopping it up and talking about whatever, that was like a really cool thing. I know these aren't the kinds of things we're supposed to talk about We're not supposed to talk about how we feel emotionally when a human being does something that they don't think anything of, but then it makes you feel a certain way, walking on clouds. But that's how I felt. And then to be invited a second time back, are you kidding me? And it's already up. So if you want to check that out, Your Dark Companion, Mike Reiner, just follow him. If you don't know who he is, what's wrong with you? So that's why yesterday's show was a little bit late. So thank you, CC. Appreciate you pointing that out. Sports Bra says there are woods everywhere here, Pugs. You got to go south. No, there's not. No, there's not woods everywhere. The state of Texas does not have a forest preserve system. Whatever you think there are woods everywhere is not what it's like in the North Woods of America. There's an entire portion of this nation, the entire top half is just woods, dense forest. Sure, they carved the city of Chicago out of that, but no, we got woods like you don't have woods. I can walk out on the south side of Chicago, gang infested, bangers, pit bulls. That's actually why you don't go in the woods in the south side of Chicago, because bangers release pit bulls. We don't have wolves or anything, but we got pit bulls running around out there. Anyway, there's not woods. It's not a forest preserve system. There's just not. But I know there's outdoors. There's outdoors here. I just got to get in the car and I got to drive somewhere. I don't want to drive somewhere. I want to be able to walk out my front door and then enter into a hiking trail that goes deep into some woods. Maybe buy some crack. That's another thing you can do in the woods on the south side of Chicago you probably didn't know about. You can buy drugs. Middle of the woods. Little dude just sitting there on a chair. What do you think he's doing? He ain't working out. He's selling crack. If you want some, you can get some. Just don't feed it to the wild pit bulls, because that's a whole nother problem. Leanne Brady's here. Hi, Leanne. She says, you're right. I lived in Glenview. Some amazing forest preserves. Yeah, it's just a different, like when they were building out that area, instead of turning everything into Frisco and Plano, they said, well, this entire suburb, that could be a suburb, is just going to stay forests. We're going to build around it. Nobody's allowed to live in there because they are preserved for the people of the state. I know we got crazy taxes and all that, but I'm saying the forest is nice. If we got to have crazy taxes, at least we have a nice place to get away to. We don't have those taxes here in Texas, and that's why we all live here. All right. Let's see here. Yeah, you were up in Glenview. What were the good woods up in Glenview? I'm sure you got great woods up in Glenview because you're right up there on the lake. That's really good stuff up there. All right. What do you say we get started? I'll explain how the show runs. It's basically just a stream of consciousness. What's that? Well, that's me talking about the world. I wake up, I put together a list of things we're going to talk about. And then I just say them here. It's talk radio. It's conversational. I have something in the chat room. Hi, Leslie. Leslie's here. Sorry. You have something you want to chime in? Jump in the chat room. We'll make this a conversation. 4 quarters. We're still doing that. 4 quarters is how the show plays out. This is just for my own. I need to stay on stream, otherwise I don't know where we'll go. So I bracket the show in 4 quarters. So I always know where I'm going to next. First quarter is a thing called antecedently on this day. It's a pretentious way of saying this day in history. Quarter 2 is birthdays. Everybody does birthdays. But we decide, do we like them or do we not? That's what we do in birthdays. Then comes quarter 3, segment 3. That's deads. People who died on this day, right? Where'd they go? Heaven or hell? That's what that is. Right, so those are the first 3 quarters. 4th quarter of the show is all the hot topics, current events, things people are talking about. We'll cover the Super Bowl. We'll talk about that. I know we didn't get into it yesterday because, well, we didn't do a show yesterday. We'll talk about, what else will we talk about? We'll talk about Elon Musk. Elon Musk is in a fight now with Sam Altman, so we got to get into that. We got to talk about what that stupid fight's all about. A couple of billionaires going at it. What else do we have to talk about? Luca made his debut. We'll get into that. And a whole bunch of other things. Whatever else is happening in the world, we'll try and touch on it so that you, at the end of this little exercise, have some sort of working understanding of all the stuff the idiots are barking about out there today, okay? Are you ready? All right, we're good. Hi, Whitney. Whitney's here. Sports Bra says, as the unofficial mayor of Rendon, I invite you to the woods here. Well, Cece and I have become pretty good friends. I mean, I could see me spending some time in his neck of the woods for some reason. I don't know what that reason is right now, but okay. Not at all concerned that Cece's trying to lure me out in the middle of the woods. Not at all. Oh, Whitney says, see, I couldn't even spend my birthday with you yesterday. That's Whitney. Yesterday was your birthday, Whitney? Happy birthday, Whitney. I don't know why I just gave the negative sound. That was just my fat finger. Happy birthday, Whitney. Everybody say happy birthday to Whitney right now, even if you're just muttering it under your breath. Should we get started? Let's get started. Oh, I should also tell you, because we still got to do this, because we're destitute here on this show. If you support this kind of radio, if you support this kind of talk every day, drop a little something. It surely would be appreciated. Y'all are the best. We're on fumes. We are left of the slash as far as, how this show is operating today, but that's okay, because we're still here, because we do it for the love of the game. The love of the game. You know what the love of the game is? All of these pro athletes, they have these clauses. Not all of them. You got to be big enough. You got to be Michael Jordan. You got to be Kobe. You got to be LeBron. All of these pro athletes, they have these clauses, some of them in their contracts, that say that if they break their ankle in a pickup game on Venice Beach during the off season, that they're allowed to do that. They're not allowed to break their ankle, but they are allowed to play in pickup games. I think, and I'm not sure about this, but I think this whole deal started when Michael Jordan took time off in the off season to film that movie. What do you do with Bugs Bunny? What was that Bugs stupid? I never saw it. I was like 30 when that thing came out. Why would I say I was 30 with no kids? Why would I see that? Whatever that was. But I think that's when Michael got it in his contract that he could play hardcore basketball. And now everybody, love of the game. It's called the love of the game clause. You're allowed to play the sport that they're paying you millions of dollars and risk injury because you just love it so much. Well, that's what I did. That's why we do this. We do this for love of the game. Thank you, Whitney. Everybody, yeah, thank you. People saying happy birthday to Whitney. That's good. All right, tip the show if you can. Let's get started. Here we go. It is... Wait a second. I seem to have just lost my place here on the page. This happens from time to time. One-man band. Used to have producers. Loved it. God, you take your producers for granted. I used to have them do everything, and I never said thank you. That's not true. I said thank you a lot. I actually think I was pretty good in that regard. But still, here we are all these years later, and I'm thinking, wow, how incredible. All right, let's get started. Welcome to the Rant, ladies and gentlemen. It is the 11th day of February, year of our Lord, 2025. Did you know that the 11th day of February is, in fact, the 42nd day of the year? Yeah, we got to do math now because it's not just January anymore. Like when it was January 20th, we could say, did you know it's the 20th day of the year? Can't do that now because it's February. Math is involved. Therefore, no longer fun. All right, let's keep going. Antecedently on this day is Q1. Antecedently. Things that happened on this day. This is history. I look back at history. I cherry pick some things. We talk a little bit about it. Let's get started. Here we go. Antecedently on this day, year of our Lord, 1858, Bernadette Jesus. Oh, my God. French names. Bernadette Soubirous. Soubirous. Bernadette, no clue. Soubirous. Oh, I'm thinking that OUS is so it's like suburb. Who cares? Lourdes. Do you know what Lourdes is? Are you Catholic enough to know what Lourdes is? Oh my God, I'm just Catholic enough to believe this nonsense. This is silly. This is one of those stories that as a young Catholic, I'm like, yeah, that didn't happen. That didn't happen. I can totally see through the story. And you are grown adults, and you're like, no, this happened. So in Lourdes, France, 3 kids were late coming home. They were late. Oh, their mom was going to whip their ass. They were late coming home. So when they got home, the eldest daughter said the reason we were late was because we saw the Virgin Mary. The Virgin Mary appeared to us. So the mom was like, what? Because the mom was obviously crazy. which would explain why the kids felt the need to lie to mom, because who knows how mom was going to react for them just being late playing in the fields there of France, I guess. I don't know. So the mom then told a person in the church, like there locally, like somebody. And guess what? That person turned out to be fucking nuts too. That person was crazy. That person didn't go, oh, that's obviously just a teenager who was in trouble for screwing around, who told a lie to her mom. No, that person went to the Pope and was like, hey, Pope, a 13-year-old girl who was late coming home for dinner saw Virgin Mary. Not one person went, wait, she was late? Was she facing any trouble? Is there a reason she could be making this up? Anyway, it happened on this day in 1858. Now there's an entire thing in the Catholic religion based around Lourdes. And I was a kid, or Lords, I don't know, whatever. I was a kid hearing this story for the first time, and I'm going, oh, they lied because they were going to be in trouble. That's what it was. That's a kid. Here's what makes it even shakier, okay? So the first sighting, there was a lot. She saw, this girl started seeing the Virgin Mary everywhere. Why? Because she was a rock star for being the little girl who saw Virgin Mary. So the first time she saw the Virgin Mary, 18 times, by the way, 18 times she went with, the Virgin Mary appeared again. That's why I'm late. She misses a period. It's because the Virgin Mary, Mom. It's not because I'm a 14-year-old sleeping around. No. So like 18 times she said she saw the Virgin Mary. But let's go back to the first time, because this is where my disconnect from this story comes. Again, we're talking about the story, the very important Catholic story of Lourdes. On this day in 1858, 3 little girls were late coming home, and they told their mother that they saw the Virgin Mary. Now, in this first sighting, 3 little girls were there. Only the oldest saw the Virgin Mary. The other 2 on the first sighting were like, yeah, that didn't happen. We didn't see that, Mom. We don't know what she's talking about. Those were the little girls. But the 13-year-old or 14-year-old who's a little bit craftier, she's like, nah, Mom, we're hanging out with the Virgin Mary. So come on. Anyway, it was on this day in 1858. And there's a whole bunch of people. They make pilgrimage. It's like a major religious tourist destination. It's crazy. It's a little girl who was in trouble. She lied, and then everybody wanted to believe it. So they went with it. And now there's a whole thing on this day in 1858. On this day in 1933. I like this. This is another example that I like to point to from our history. That's why it's important to me that we go through these things. This was 1933. The Los Angeles Police Department conducted what was known as a Red Square raid on the John Reed Club's art show. Results in the destruction of a dozen artworks that were deemed political. The reason I want to put 1933, the police department in Los Angeles raided an art gallery. I did this show from an art gallery. They raided an art gallery in 1933, stripped all the paintings off the wall, and then burned them in a big bonfire. No due process, no judge, no, hey, this was a one-of-a-kind piece of artwork that I slaved. None of that. It didn't matter. That happened in America in 1933. Jackboot thugs wearing patches that said the Los Angeles Police Department kicked in an art gallery's door and then burned all the art in America in 1933. So all of you people, and look, you know I'm not a Trump guy. I'm not an any guy. I hate them all. But any of you people who are sitting here pretending like what you are seeing from Trump is like, that's not how America works. That's how America has always worked. The difference is we have never, you know who adheres to the Constitution and all that kind of stuff? We the people, we the peasants. But as far as like rich and powerful people doing what they want whenever the fuck they want, that's always been something that was allowed here. And on this day, some rich and powerful people decided that they didn't like a bunch of, didn't have a name for them, hippies, but that's what they were. Artsy people who were talking about different ideas of societies. Those rich and powerful people decided to kick in their door and burn all of their shit. That happened in 1933. So don't tell me that what Trump is doing is against the Constitution. We've never seen anything like this before. Yes, we have. Here's the key. We didn't know about it. They didn't know about it. Nobody knew. In 1933, when the Los Angeles Police Department kicked in the door of the John Reed Club, which was having an art show. When they did this, nobody knew about it. Maybe there was a blurb in the local paper on page 10 about it, but stuff happened. Stuff happened. We just know about it now. We're far more connected. We're learning everything, and we're acting like it's special now. It's not. People just got away with this shit. Antecedently on this day in 1938, BBC Television produces the world's first ever science fiction television program. 1938. I didn't know TV in 1938. BBC was doing TV before the Nazis? During the Blitzkrieg, they're showing science fiction? Anyway, this is it's an important moment because it was on this science fiction show on the BBC on this day in 1938. R-U-R is what it was called. R. The special was, and now the BBC presents a sci-fi film called R-U-R. And it's important because it's where the word robot comes from. The word robot was first introduced on this day in 1938 in the very first science fiction television program. It was aired on the BBC in 1938. A note there. So I have finished. I think I mentioned it a couple of weeks ago that I had decided that I was going to try and watch the Apple TV series Silo. I don't know if you're familiar with the Apple TV series Silo, but I've gotten through the, it's two seasons, two full, which I like. That's when I like to jump into a show when I got at least 2 seasons. I like to have a season 1 cliffhanger and then have it resolved and then move the story. That's how I will jump into a show. So I started watching Silo when I had 2 seasons to watch. It took me about a month or so to watch it. Here's what I can tell you about Silo on Apple TV. It's so good. It's so good. It is so good. And I don't like sci-fi. I've watched one other sci-fi series, Battlestar Galactica. That's it. And I love that. And now I come to Silo. Silo is so good. If you guys have Apple TV, check out Silo. It's really good. All right, I'll tell you what it's about. It's about people who live in a silo that goes like miles and miles underground. And there's 10,000 people in this silo. And this is their society. And they have created a society in this silo for how long? They don't know. Because they're not really allowed to deal with history. They don't ask questions about any history. They have no history. They don't know why they're in the silo. They don't know how long they've been in the silo, and they don't know what this all means. And it's awesome. It is awesome. Silo. Why are we in this silo? What happened? And it's about trying to figure out what happened in the prehistory that they call it, because there was an outside world. There's just not an outside world now. Silo, it's really good. It's on Apple TV. I think you'll like it. On this day in 1938, the BBC put on the first sci-fi show, R, and they termed the phrase robot. Antecedently on this day, excuse me. You like seeing me cough but not hearing it? On this day in 1990, Buster Douglas, a 42-1 underdog, knocks out Mike Tyson in 10 rounds at Tokyo. Buster Douglas knocked out Tyson in the 10th round in Tokyo. That's what happened on this day in 1990. I remember, this is weird how we have these just random memories. I remember, like, this happened on a Saturday night, and we were shocked. I was at a party. We watched at a party. We used to watch all the big Mike Tyson fights at a party. I was at a party. We watched it. We were all shocked. But then I remember for some reason walking down the street the next day, wearing headphones, listening to a transistor radio, and hearing a commercial come on the next day, like Monday, after the fight was Saturday. And on Monday, and hearing a commercial for a Burger King Whopper deal, a Buster Douglas Whopper deal. And I remember thinking, my God, advertising moves fast. This was 1990. What was I doing walking around in 1990? I was a grown-up, basically. I was like 20. Anyway, there you have it. Buster Douglas knocked out Mike Tyson, proving the old adage, everybody's got a puncher's chance, man. Everybody's got a puncher's chance. Because if those two fought 10 out of 10 times, pretty sure Tyson would win 9 of them. Let's go on. Let's see here. Antecedently on this day in 2020, the COVID-19 pandemic, the World Health Organization officially names the coronavirus outbreak as COVID-19. That was on this day in 2020. First time apparently we were officially allowed to call it COVID-19. All right, let's go. Moving on. Q2. We call this birthdays. These are people who claim it's their birthday. We don't know for sure. These are published reports, but let's go with it. Born on this day in the year 1847, Thomas Edison. Thomas Edison, everybody. No. Thomas Edison is another one. I'm not going to call him a fraud. He's not another fraud because he did stuff. He really did stuff. He was a smart guy. I don't like that he shocked an elephant. Yeah, he murdered an elephant. He wanted to prove the power of his invention, so he got an elephant and took it down to Atlantic City's boardwalk and did a promotion where he invited people to come and watch him electrocute an elephant. Yeah, that's who your great-grandparents were. Fuck, man. I'm telling you. Could you imagine that today? Like if somebody had knocked on my door. Hey, I'm selling tickets going door to door. We're gonna murder a grizzly bear down in the cul-de-sac later today. We're gonna fuck with it a little bit. You want to come watch? I'd be like, what? But no, your great-grandparents were like, let's make a day of it. We'll pack a picnic lunch and we'll go watch a giant, beautiful elephant be electrocuted. Now, I do say this in their defense. Those people weren't exposed to a lot of things, There was no internet. There was no TV. They didn't see things. They wanted to be entertained. They'd go to like a penny Nickelodeon thing. They didn't know what they were seeing. Most of them had never seen an elephant. Most of them probably just went to see an elephant. An elephant? I've heard of those in the Gunga Din books. And then he just kills an elephant and it drops, and people are like, what the fuck? Anyway, on this day in 1847, Thomas Edison was born. I think he's a jackass. Born on this day in 1926, not a jackass, the great Leslie Nielsen. Leslie Nielsen, nice beaver. Leslie Nielsen, he was a dramatic actor. We know him from the Naked Gun movies and not from Airplane. You people, you think Leslie Nielsen was the pilot in Airplane. He wasn't that was Peter Graves. They look similar, but no, they're not. Like, yeah, and he was in Airplane. I can't tell you how many times I've had that argument with people. Leslie Nielsen was not in Airplane. Yes, the Zucker brothers made Leslie Nielsen a star. Yes, the Zucker brothers made Airplane. No, Leslie Nielsen is not the pilot in Airplane. That's Peter Graves. You ever seen a grown man naked? That's Peter Graves. It's not Leslie Nielsen. I think. Now I don't know. All right, whatever. Let's keep going. Born on this doesn't matter. Naked Gun. He was awesome. Leslie Nielsen. Born on this day in 1926. We like him. Born on this day in 1934. Tina Louise. Wait, Tina Louise? Not Tina Marie. Not the sing. Was that her name? Tina Marie? The singer, the R&B singer. Yeah, that was her name. This is Tina Louise. Tina Louise was, of course, Ginger Grant from Gilligan's Island. So what I want to do here is I want to just once and for all, let's do the Marianne and Ginger comparison, okay? Because I'm tired of you people. So many of you underestimate yourself. This is one of the great old head dude conversations, right? Who would you rather, Ginger or Marianne? I'm sure there's a modern, updated version of this, but I'm an old head. So let's discuss the Ginger or Marianne conundrum that most men have dealt with at some point in their life, especially if they're above 45. So Ginger Grant was a movie star. She was a sex symbol. She was a very, very, a 10. Okay, let's just call her a 10. Marianne, who we're seeing here on the left, Marianne was a beautiful country girl from the middle of nowhere. She's a little farm girl with a little pigtails. Is she hot? Shit, yeah, she's hot. But if the question is, who would you rather, Ginger or Marianne? Let me set it straight for you. One, this is a hypothetical and a fantasy, okay? This is not anything that's ever, you're not really going to get a shot with either one of these two. So why do so many of you go for Marianne? I don't understand that. Like, wouldn't you rather be with nobody? You're not going to be able to dine out with friends for years telling the story of the time you had sex with the girl from Central Arkansas, okay? That's not going to get you any meals. But you know what will? Talk about the time you hooked up with Ginger Grant, the movie star. I mean, she was basically supposed to be Marilyn Monroe. But that was supposed to be who she was. So you people are nuts. Also, I'll leave you with this as we look at Ginger and Marianne side by side. You can't lose. I'll say you can't lose. They're both, I mean, if you just want to have sex with a pretty girl, they're both pretty. One just has so much more to offer. And this is the last thing I'll say on it. Ginger Grant's going to do stuff that Marianne won't. That's just a fact, guys. That's just a fact. The Hollywood sex bomb is going to do stuff without even thinking about it. She's going to do stuff that Marianne will not do. So consider that. It's a one-night fantasy. You're going to be limited in your options with Marianne. All right, there we go. Happy birthday, Tina Louise. Tina Louise, born on this day. 1934, born on this day in 1936. Here's a baller of a man. Here's one of them dudes, one of my all-time favorites. I talk about how I take very seriously my role as the cultural influencer in my young son's life. This was a guy who I made sure he knew about. I don't need his generation forgetting about old Burt Reynolds. Burt Reynolds, born on this day in 1936. Yeah. We've done Smokey and the Bandit. We've done Smokey and the Bandit 2. We've done Cannonball Run. We haven't done Longest Yard yet. You would think Longest Yard, but my son doesn't like sports movies made when people couldn't play sports. That's the kind of shit he says. Yeah, that's what you deal with a 15-year-old. Watching Mickey Mantle highlights on YouTube and my kid going, he wasn't that good. Happy birthday, Burt Reynolds. He's one of them dudes. Born on this day in 1962, Sheryl Crow. Don't really have a take on Sheryl Crow. Other than I had a friend who used to think like you would be like, who's the hottest celebrity you like? That question. Who's the hottest? Who's the, that question. I had a friend who was like always Sheryl Crow. And I'm like, what? What? You can have anybody. You can have anybody, and you're going with Sheryl Crow. Sheryl Crow is a pretty woman to be married to if you live in a cul-de-sac in Frisco. There's no denying that. But again, this is the fantasy. You're going Sheryl Crow? Are you aware that, well, I was going to say Britney, but that was like 20 years ago. Katy Perry? I mean, come on. There's Sheryl Crow. Hey, to each his own. To each his own. I get upset when people undercut their own fantasies. When their own insecurities about who they are in real life somehow inform their ability to truly enjoy a fantasy. That's what I push back against. Go for it. Antecedently on this day, born on 1969. Here's a good one. This is what I was thinking about this one. I just saw her not live in human person, but I saw her like at some award show. She was walking the red carpet, and I was like, God, jeez. All right. Born on this day in 1969, holding together well. She's older than me. Happy birthday, Jennifer Aniston. She never had kids. Maybe that's what it is. She never had kids. She's 56. What? 56. She's 56 years old today, and she looks like she's 36. Good for her, Jennifer Aniston. Born on this day in 1971. Another one of my favorites, Damian Lewis. You guys know who Damian Lewis is? Damian Lewis is a great actor. He's an Irish actor, but he doesn't play Irish roles. He was in Band of Brothers. He was so good in that. He was in, of course, Homeland, the first season of Homeland, the best season of Homeland. Did you guys watch Homeland? Season 1 of Homeland is one of the best single seasons of television ever. Damian Lewis we're talking about. Then, of course, Billions. Did you guys watch Billions? He plays Axe. Plays Bobby Axelrod. Is that his name? Bobby Axelrod? Axe Capital. Damian Lewis is a great, cool actor, man. I like him in everything he does. Having a birthday today. Born on this day in 1971. He was married. This was one of my favorite couples. Yeah, I have my favorite Hollywood couple pecking order list that I like to keep track of. Your Dak Shepherds, your Christian Bells, those people, they're on that list. But non-Hollywood because they lived in London, Damian Lewis and McCrory, Catherine McCrory, whatever. Aunt Polly from Peaky Blinders. Remember Aunt Polly from Peaky Blinders? They were married, and then she died, and we felt bad for him. Happy birthday, born on this day, Damian Lewis, 1971. Born on this day in 1981, Kelly Rowland. Do you know who she is? Kelly Rowland? Kelly Rowland was a thing, and then she stopped being a thing. And I wonder what's that about. Kelly Rowland was in Destiny's Child with Beyonce. And then there was like a period like Destiny's Child broke up and Beyonce went and did her thing. And then, but also people were like, no, Kelly's going to be the breakout. And then she did her thing and it didn't work. And now we don't know who Kelly Rowland is, except on days like today when we commemorate her birthday. But we know who Beyonce is, but, you know, she's the lesser. All right, there you go. First 2 quarters are now in the books. Let's move to quarter 3. We call these the deads, people who died. We decide where they go, heaven or hell. Heaven or hell, I should say. All right, here we go. Dead on this day, year of our Lord, 19... Hold on, Google Drive just did something. Dead on this day in the year 2006. All right, let's go. Let's start out with modern deaths. Dead on this day in 2006, Peter Benchley. Peter Benchley was an author, most famously wrote Jaws, frightening an entire world to stay out of the water. He's going to hell. He wrote Jaws. Born on this day in dead on this day in 2012, Whitney Houston, American singer, songwriter, producer, and actress. Whitney Houston. Boy, we learned a lot about Whitney Houston after her death, didn't we? Like she was packaged. They found this girl. When I say we learned a lot, what we did was we started to hear the stories about how she came to be Whitney Houston and the public image that we all had of her. My God, she was in this country. She was like the Black Princess Di. She was sophisticated. She was elegant. She was beautiful. She had this unrivaled voice that she could just hit these Mariah Carey octaves. Whitney Houston was amazing. Turns out that really wasn't what she was. Like for instance, this always I thought was weird. She was discovered hanging out. She was a young model and she was singing. Christy Brinkley was a model, and Christy Brinkley was married to Billy Joel, and they were at some crazy model party, and Christy Brinkley was at the piano with Billy Joel, and Billy Joel was playing, and then Whitney Houston, a model, like a 17-year-old model, just saunters up and starts singing. Nobody knew she could sing, and she like blew the room up. And then we learned that like she's really into drugs and that she's probably an alcoholic, and that when the spotlight isn't on her and she isn't being controlled by her publicist and her record company, that Whitney Houston is an absolute train wreck of an individual. We used to think that it was Bobby Brown when she got involved with Bobby Brown, that's when she started to fall apart. But I don't think so. I think she was as bad an influence on Bobby Brown as Bobby Brown was on her. Now, what do I mean by that? Bobby Brown certainly brought the more street aspects and, you know, the edgy stuff, because that's what he was all about. But Bobby Brown, the celebrity that he was, did not have the kind of influence and pull that Whitney Houston did. So when that whole scene became a part of Whitney Houston's life, just by the fact that she was as powerful and as influential as she was, that scene became normalized. And she fell victim to it. Like it, because she was different, man. She was up on a pedestal. And then the Bobby Brown nonsense started, and we started to go, well, and then we just started to accept it. We're like, well, that's just what it's like when you're that famous. No, she was something completely different. So where does Whitney Houston go? She died in her bathtub like the night before the Grammy Awards, overdosed on drugs. Her big problem was alcohol, though. Apparently she was a sloppy drunk too, which is fascinating when you think of how public she was and how we didn't really see all of that evidence of her being a sloppy drunk until, you know, close to the end. She's going to heaven. I'm putting Whitney Houston in heaven. Because I don't know what happened there, but she didn't seem to hurt anybody other than herself and her daughter. Let's not forget about her daughter. She totally fucked up her daughter, who's dead now. Bobby Joe or Bobby, whatever Whitney and Bobby Brown's daughter was. I'm still putting her in heaven. All right, there we go. Whitney Houston, I'm putting her in heaven. Dead on this day in 2012. Dead on this day in 2015. Preemptively going to hell. Jerry Tarkanian, the shark. I love Tark the shark. He used to have a towel. He used to like bite into a towel. I love Tark the shark. But I know a man who's on his way to hell when I see one, and that's pretty much the deal with Jerry Tarkanian. All right, folks, there you go. That's going to do it. That's the first 3/4 of the show. Welcome into the rant. Now we'll get into all the hot topics and current events that are happening today. Let me jump into chat room, see what folks in the chat room are saying. Sports Bra says greatest national anthem ever. Then the pipe got her. I think she was, dude, see, that's what you're missing about Whitney Houston. She was on the pipe before the national anthem. They just kept her so controlled and out of the spotlight, and they allowed her this world. They like built this world in her mansion that was filled with like all-night meth parties and gangbangers, and the public never saw that shit. The public never saw it. We saw elegant, sophisticated, beautiful Whitney singing one of the greatest national anthems before a Super Bowl ever. That's what we saw. That's not what was really going on, though. She got gangsta, like in her. Do you remember the reality series? For some reason, everybody was doing reality series. And her and Bobby Brown thought it would be a good idea to do a reality series, and it was a huge hit. And I think it only aired for a couple of episodes because there was just way too much shit that Whitney Houston's people, the people who make all the money off of her, way too much shit that her people went, no, what? You can't allow cameras in there. There was a crack pipe on the counter in the background. What you? That was the reality series where I first went, oh, Whitney Houston is not at all who we think she is. All right. I don't know how we got back to talking about Whitney. Oh, yeah, because of the anthem. Outlaw says, afternoon, everyone. Happy birthday, Whitney. Celebrating this fine Tuesday with Pugs and Kelly. Totally wicked. That's a man after my own heart. The Outlaw, he's out there at Weinberger's having a Pugs and Kelly wicked. Oh, what did I do there? Sorry. No. Let's go back to being normal. There we go. Back to being normal. Let's see here. So I'm just reading some of the chats. I got to find a better way for me to follow along with the chats because I want to start interacting more with the chat room. I see Adams in the chat room, just going over some like really minutia. The point of the Edison story was that he's the kind of man that would murder an elephant for his own glory. Adam, I didn't really need you being, well, honestly, it was about him trying to show that his direct current was safer than Tesla. Fuck you. Stop it, Adam. Seriously. I still love Adam. That's what he does. That's what he does. He's here for a reason. He's here to make me do that. He's here to upset me from time to time with his little nitpicky bullshit. You understood the overall point, right? Was that I think that Thomas Edison is a bad guy. Swear to God, between Frank Smith and his random non sequiturs having nothing to do with what we're talking about, but yet somehow tangentially in his mind related, to Adam just nitpicking everything. People are working my last nerve. I'm done with you people in the chat room right now. I don't need any. Let's keep going. All right, let's talk about what's happening here in the world. Quarter four. That's what we do here. Hot topics, current events. Hostages. Let's talk about this. This is the big story. This is the big story as far as I can see globally. So the hostage situation, of course, when I say hostages, you know what I'm talking about. I'm talking about Israel. I'm talking about Gaza. I'm talking about the hostages that were taken on October the 7th, 2 years ago now. God, geez, it's been so long. There was a deal that was reached a couple of weeks back, a big breakthrough. The hostages are going to be handed over one at a time. And, we're going to get all the hostages back and we're working on things. You get a couple of hostages, they get some aid. They give a couple more hostages. They get some more aid, that kind of thing. That's how it's supposed to go. So that is, don't know if you've been following. That's done. That's over with. No more hostages are going to be released, at least not until the Gaza people, Hamas, let's say it's Hamas. I don't want to do that. The people of Gaza, although I do have my questions about them, the people of Gaza are not Hamas. This is Hamas, a terror organization who has taken these hostages. Hamas is now saying, nope, we're done. We're not giving up any more hostages because you guys aren't giving us any aid. Supposedly the aid was supposed to come in. Some people are saying that this is because of the USAID issues, the US aid issues. Trump's got Elon in there, and they're doing some changes, and I don't have an opinion on these changes yet. We'll see how it all shakes out, but they're doing some changes, and apparently it has affected the flow of aid that was promised in order to get the hostages back. So here's what we got. Israel has sent soldiers now to the Gaza area and canceled leave for troops already there. This after Hamas's declaration that it would postpone the next hostage release. Israel's military said Monday evening the troop deployments are to, quote, enhance the readiness for various scenarios in the region. So, this is very different than a couple of weeks ago when it was, we're going to stop hostilities. We're going to get the hostages back. We're going to render them the aid that they need. Okay, so that's different. Now it's, we got troops there because the shit's about to hit the fan. That's as of today, that's the attitude of the Israeli army. Israeli Defense Minister Israel Katz said he gave the directive in response to Hamas's decision to suspend its planned release of 3 Israeli hostages expected Saturday. The militant group said Israel was violating the agreement by delaying supplies such as tents and mobile homes needed to shelter the displaced Palestinians. All right. So now what's our response to this? I mean, you might say, why should we have a response to this? It's between those people. Well, because we are who we are. We are the United States of America. So Trump, president of the United States, it shall be, look, I'm not going to call him Trump because that's, whenever I say that name, it's always, I don't mean to be disrespectful. He's the president of the United States. So I'm going to call him the president. So the president of the United States is now saying that if all the hostages aren't released by noon on Saturday. Now, remember, there were just supposed to be a couple released on noon Saturday. President of the United States is saying that if all the hostages are not released by noon Saturday, there will be hell to pay. Nobody knows what that means. Nobody knows what hell to pay means. So there we are. Anyway, hostage. If you're one of the hostages that already got out, like, whoo, glad I was in that early group. Let's see here. What do we have? Oh, this is some nonsense going on here. I'd love to know how I would. No, you know what? I'm not gonna poke the bear on this. I'm just gonna do the story. So that like super corrupt mayor of New York City, Eric Adams, who we've all known has been super corrupt for like a year now, at least. The stories have been. Remember, I mean, I spent a good hour talking about the ties to Turkey and what they got him on. They got this guy. The mayor of New York is as corrupt and as, he is the swamp. So the Justice Department went after him, and we were all like, yay! Remember that? We were like, yay! They got the mayor of New York, the corrupt son of a bitch. Well, since then, the mayor of New York has now become friends with Donald Trump, and the Justice Department is now dismissing all charges against the very corrupt mayor of New York City because he played nice with the president. Okay, all right, that's the world we're in. The Justice Department has informed the prosecutors in New York that they are to dismiss all charges against Eric Adams. All right, there we go. We've been hearing about swamp, and I think we all know swamp is a problem with politics. We all know Eric Adams, big city, Democrat, total, dead to rights, this guy, with his corruption. But no, he's okay now. He's okay. Apparently he's okay because he's... What the Come on, you guys. What the hell is going on here? In a similar note, Rob Blagojevich has been pardoned by the President of the United States. The guy, he's out here pardoning a bunch of crooked Democrats. Is he going to pardon Menendez? Is he going to pardon that? Is he out here just, I don't know what's going on. Rob Blagojevich was the governor of Illinois. We heard the tapes. We heard him on the phone attempting to sell. He was governor of Illinois. A senator from Illinois had just been elected president of the United States. Barack Obama had to vacate his Senate seat. In this situation, the governor of Illinois places somebody in that seat until a special election can be held. Rob Blagojevich tried to sell that seat in exchange for it. He wanted money for his reelection campaigns. And then on top of that, he wanted some kind of political appointment. We got it on tape. We heard him on the phone calls. You can find it. I'm not going to waste our time with it, but you can find it. He was dead to rights. Democratic governor of Illinois, Rod Blagojevich, a guy who for years I'd looked at and went, that dude is shady as hell. Married into the Puchinsky family, which is one of the most corrupt Chicago machine political organizations in history. That's who his wife is. His wife is the daughter of Roman Puchinsky. Terrible Chicago politician, super corrupt. And now he's now he's not pardoned. First, he got commuted. Okay. Now look, the Rod Blagojevich story is complicated. He was governor of the state that I was born in. I was familiar with him as a politician. It was complicated because you see, he was over-sentenced. All these things that I'm about to tell you can be true. Rod Blagojevich was over-sentenced. Nobody should have been sent to jail for the amount of time that he did, especially considering that he failed in doing what he was trying to do. He failed. He got caught. And he should, one, never be allowed to run for anything again. All right. Now, now when I say allowed, I mean he should stop himself from running because the public perception of him should be so bad because we've got him on tape trying to sell. So he shouldn't be a viable candidate ever again. But he was over-sentenced. And then a couple of years ago, he was released. People went, you know what? This is nonsense. This guy shouldn't have gotten as many years. It was political over-sentencing. It was once again the Democrats showing that they are honorable and one of their own will be really brought to the sword should they run afoul of our. That was the bullshit that the Democrats do. Democrats are always willing to resign in disgrace because they find honor in it. Whereas the other party doesn't resign. The other party goes, fuck you. I'm not going anywhere. And we've learned that works. No, but not the Dems. The Dems are always falling on their sword. It is the honorable thing to do. So that's what they did with the prosecution of Blagojevich. They were like, it is honorable for us to make an example of one of our own. And now the other party's pardoned him. He was already commuted. He was let out on commutation because he was over-sentenced. But he still did what he did. Not anymore. Not anymore. President of the United States, he didn't do it. I am pardoning him. You're pardoned. Tell me about the swamp again, people. Look, I think all politicians are crooked, but don't stop acting like some are better than others, okay? You people have been duped. And I mean anybody who voted for any of these people for the last 30 years, y'all been duped. In this country, we cannot see a con man. Never have. We see a play. We see a musical like The Music Man, and we're entertained by it. Nobody got the message from The Music Man. Nobody. What do they say? The arc of history? The arc of history is more of a circle. That if you go long enough in history, the arc of history will bring you back around and you'll just repeat history again. Well, that's what we did. Speaking of that, speaking of taking the wrong message from shit. So my son and I had my boy this weekend. Oh my God, what a weekend we had. So he comes at me. We watch movies at night. We're like, what movies are we going to watch tonight? We have a whole process, right? And it's usually a huge fight. And it usually means that one of us are going to have to sit for 2 hours watching something we don't want to watch. Now, when I force my son to watch something that I think he needs to watch, more than not, he's at the end of it, he's like, no, that was pretty good. But without fail, whenever my son makes me watch something, it's like, you know what? I don't want to watch zombie headhunters from Antarctica. Okay? This is so stupid. I don't want to watch this movie. It's only 45 minutes left. So anyway, this weekend he shocked me. He had a movie suggestion. He's like, got a movie I want to watch with you. I'm like, okay, what's this awful shit? We gonna watch Abraham Lincoln Vampire Hunter again? Is that what we're doing? No. He said, and it's from 1999, which is a huge deal because my son doesn't like to watch any movie that was made before he was born. Nothing existed in this world before he was born. He goes through, when was that movie made? It was made in 2007. That was 2 years before I was born. Oh, God. So anyway, he says, I got a movie I want to watch with you. It's from 1999. So I'm like, okay. So I'm immediately thinking in my head, what are the dumbest fucking movies from 1999, right? I'm like, when was Dude, Where's My Car made? I'm like, when was that made? Is that what he's going to make me watch? I was pleasantly surprised. He said, Dad, I want to watch Fight Club. David Fincher's Fight Club? Ed Norton, Helena Bonham Carter, and Brad Pitt? Really? Meatloaf? Really? So, okay. So we watched an incredible movie. It's an incredibly good movie. We watched it. Unfortunately, he knew, right? This is the problem. There was a great twist. There was a great discovery that you make while watching Fight Club for the first time. And I'm not going to spoil it for you, but the movie's 30 years old, okay? People should know, but I'm still not going to spoil it for you. Problem is that my kid knew that. My kid knew it from the very beginning. And he's like telling me all this stuff. And I'm like, why do you want to watch this movie? And he goes, because I watched a YouTube breakdown. I'm like, so the movie's been ruined for you because you now know what the reveal is, or it's not a reveal as much as it's a realization. The viewer of the movie is supposed to, at the end of it, go, wow, okay, I didn't get that. That's what Fincher wanted. That's what Chuck Palahniuk, what's his name? Chuck Palahniuk, Chuck Palahniuk or whatever. That's what he wanted. But as I say, is the same case with taking the wrong message. I think everybody saw Fight Club and took the wrong message, right? Didn't Fight Club kind of like everybody who saw Fight Club was like, yeah, we ought to start a Fight Club, which wasn't the message. It's a movie about mental illness and the rage that society fosters within people who are, I can't go into it. Anyway, wrong message. So a whole generation of you idiots, talking about you millennials who are like 10 years younger than me, whole generation of you morons thought that movie was about destroying Woodstock 99. Yeah, kind of happened at the same time. Limp Bizkit. You remember when Limp Bizkit break things? Like, that all came together with Fight Club. And I'm like, that is not the message of Fight Club. That is the message that dumb people who, aren't really trying to find a message. That's what stupid surface dwellers break stuff, punch people in the face. So yeah, my son, if you think that was bad, if you just had to withstand that little rant of mine, boy, imagine what my son went through Saturday. So I gave him the lecture. Let me tell you something about Fight Club. I'll watch it with you. We watched Fight Club, and then we went into Inglourious Bastards. We were in a mood. Could you tell? We were in a mood. Fight Club straight into Inglourious Bastards. He was asleep. If you're familiar with the film Inglourious Bastards, he was asleep before the Bear Jew made his appearance. You know the Bear Jew, where the bear. If you're familiar with Inglourious Bastards, the Bear Jew is like a really cool point. I look over, the Bear Jew is about to make his entrance. I look over at my kid, sound asleep. I'm like, ah. So I guess you're never going to see Inglourious Bastards. All right, moving on. Recapping. Charges against New York City Mayor Eric Adams are being dismissed by the Department of Justice, and Rod Blagojevich, the disgraced, corrupt former governor of Illinois, has just been pardoned. Both Democrats, both obvious pieces of crap, both seem to be getting away with whatever it is that they did for absolutely. Although, if we're being honest, Blagojevich did spend about 10 years in prison, so. But he doesn't deserve a pardon. He did it. He did it. The pardon means that historically, well, he was deemed that he didn't do it or didn't deserve it. No, he did it and he deserved it. Here's a fun story. Don't get hoodwinked into thinking that all the planes are falling out of the sky, because every time there's a plane incident now, we're getting reports on it. There was another plane incident that occurred yesterday in Scottsdale, Arizona. This one's fun, and I'm only talking about it because, there's an angle to it that's kind of fun. I also want to say this. We had two legitimate plane crashes that occurred in the same week. I think one happened on Wednesday and then one happened on Friday. Okay? Those were very serious things, and we need to take those very seriously. But we have thousands and thousands of aircraft in the sky every single day at every minute. They often have to make emergency landings. They often have little near misses. I mean, that's a regular thing. But now, because we had two plane crashes last week in the same week, or 2 weeks ago now in the same week, now we got to keep that story alive. People are freaked out about planes. How do we keep them freaked out about planes, is what they say in the editorial meetings at Fox, MSNBC, and CNN. How do we keep them freaked? Well, there was a plane that bumped into another plane at Scottsdale. Let's lead with that. Horror in the skies. That's how I saw this story presented by what was I watching? I think this was News Nation. I think it was on News Nation. Horror in the skies. And then they did the story that I'm about to do for you here. Horror in the skies. This didn't occur in the skies. This occurred while planes were taxiing into their hangars. In Scottsdale, Arizona yesterday, a private jet collided, and collided is the word that they're using. I'm looking at it. It bumped into another plane while doing about 5 miles an hour, taxiing to wherever. I don't know. Maybe it was worse than that. Let's get into the details. There is a buried nugget here that I'm going to lay on you that's really fun about this. Scottsdale, Arizona. One person was killed and another was injured. Oh, shit. Someone died. All right, never mind. I didn't realize somebody died. Look, I'm just trying to talk about Vince Neil's plane. This was Vince Neil of Motley Crue's airplane. Vince Neil's airplane came in for a landing and was like exiting the runway, and it banged into another plane. Let's give you the details. One person was killed and others were injured when a private jet owned by Motley Crue singer Vince Neil collided with another jet Monday afternoon at the Scottsdale Airport in Arizona. Neil's jet was landing at the airport when it veered off the runway and collided with another parked plane. Neil's representative, Warwick Robinson IV, that's an attorney, said in a statement there were two pilots and two passengers on Neil's plane, but he was not among them. Mr. Neil's thoughts and prayers go out to everyone involved, and he is grateful for the critical aid of all the first responders. The arriving jet, Vince Neil's Motley Crue plane, the arriving jet veered off the runway and collided with the Gulfstream 200 jet that was parked on private property, according to Kelly Kuster, Aviation Planning and Outreach Coordinator at the Scottsdale Airport. It appeared that the left main landing gear of Vince Neil's jet failed, resulting in the collision. Let's see. 4 people were on the arriving jet, which had come from Austin, Texas, and 1 person was in the parked plane. 2 people injured in the collision were taken to trauma centers, and 1 was in stable condition at a hospital. They were working to recover the body of the person killed in the collision. So I don't understand how this happened. Okay, so I don't get who got killed? Was it somebody on Vince Neil's plane? Hold on. 2 people injured in the collision were taken to trauma centers, and 1 was in stable condition at a hospital, Scottsdale Fire Department Captain Dave Folio said. He said they were working to recover the body of the person killed in the collision. So there were 4 people on Vince Neil's jet. They didn't say anything about whether they're okay. there was one person who was in the plane that was parked that Vince Neil's jet bumped into, ran into, but we've got 2 people injured and 1 person dead. Wouldn't you think? I would think that maybe it was the guy sitting in the pot. I don't know. Our thoughts and prayers go out to everyone involved in this. The runway has been closed and will remain closed for the foreseeable future. Scottsdale mayor, who cares? The mayor of Scottsdale. You've got no information on this. Shut up. On behalf of the city of Scottsdale, we offer our deepest. Oh, shut up, mayor. The airport is a popular hub for jets coming in and out of the Phoenix area, especially during big sports weekends. The Scottsdale collision comes after 3 major... Yeah, here's how you tie it in. Here's how you tie this in. All right, no information on who died. Absolutely no information. I don't know, these people on the ground. Anyway, there you have it. Horror in the sky. Terror in the sky, or whatever, as News Nation put it. Actually occurred on the ground, but okay. Here's a fun little story that's going on here. You know, I like to cover beef between billionaires. Billionaire beef. That's a new podcast I got coming. Billionaire beef. Elon Musk, we all know, but do we know who Sam Altman is? Is that, you know, because he's the new Elon. There's an old school Elon who is just freaking Gary Buseying himself right off this planet. There's that guy. And then there's this new guy, Sam Altman. Who's Sam Altman? Sam Altman's young. He's like in his 30s or something like that. Sam Altman is the chat. What is he? I don't even know. AI guy. Sam Altman is the AI guy. You know how AI is going to be the biggest thing in the world? Right. So Sam Altman is Elon Musk in 2002. Let's say that. Remember when Elon Musk was just, what was Elon Musk first? What was he first? How did we first come? Tesla? I guess when he first launched Tesla. Maybe that's what this guy is. They don't like each other. They don't like each other, I believe, because Elon Musk sees what Sam Altman is and what Sam Altman can become. If AI is, in fact, this whole new game changer as far as how we do everything in this world, then yeah, it would stand to reason that people would be looking at Sam Altman as being the next richest man in the world, most powerful guy, or whatever that business card is. Somebody gets it. Sometimes Bezos has it. Sometimes Elon has it. But Sam Altman is having those business cards printed up that say world's most powerful man. So there's a dislike. There is shade. There's constant shade being thrown at Sam Altman from Elon Musk. Now, it should be noted that Elon Musk also is behind XAI. XAI is a competitor to Sam Altman's much larger AI thing. Anyway, Sam Altman, not afraid of Elon at all, which I kind of like. Don't get me wrong. Both of these guys are billionaires, so in my mind, they probably suck. But I do like Sam Altman's attitude towards Elon Musk. It's like the attitude of the young prince who knows that he's seen the scriptures. He knows what the future holds. He's not afraid of Elon at all. He gave an interview. Here, let's watch this. A little bit of Sam Altman talking about Elon Musk. We'll fast forward through it because there's a lot of it's a long interview, but there are a couple of things that we should listen to that Sam Altman has to say about Elon Musk. Elon Musk.
Tremendous is a free platform that allows businesses to send gift cards and money all over the world at scale.
Throws shade
Without Tremendous,
on Elon Musk over $97 billion.
Nothing feels impossible
bid.
with Tremendous. Just book a demo at tremendous.com.
Elon Musk is trying to buy Sam Altman's company. But apparently Sam Altman, if you believe the hype, he's so far ahead of the curve on all this, and he's the guy, and oh my God, Elon, who's got the competing XAI, which by the way, Grok is incredible. So I guess at the moment, as far as, my personal usage, I am on Team XAI because Grok is fun. But here he is. Here's Sam Altman talking about Elon. Are we sharing? Yeah, we're sharing. Okay, here we go. We'll get rid of that. Let's play it.
Of course, the headlines right now, Elon Musk making a bid for OpenAI. Your response, you're turning him down for $97 billion.
I mean, look, OpenAI is not for sale. The OpenAI mission is not for sale. Elon tries all sorts of things for a long time. This is this week's episode.
You take it seriously at all? What do you think he's trying to drive at with this?
I think he's probably just trying to slow us down. He obviously is a competitor. It's he's working hard and he's raised a lot of money for XAI, and they're trying to compete with us from a technological perspective, from getting the product into the market. And I wish he would just compete by building a better product, but I think there's been a lot of tactics, many lawsuits, all sorts of other crazy stuff. Now this, and we'll try to just put our head down and keep working.
Does it make it more difficult to move from that non-profit model to that for-profit model for OpenAI?
We're not moving to a for-profit model. We're not sure we're going to do it all, but no matter what, the nonprofit will continue to be extremely important. It will drive the mission. It will continue to exist. The board is looking at lots of options about.
All right, so that was the first little
for this next phase.
Pause. All right, that was the first little bit about Elon, where he's just like, kind of like he's a nuisance. He's a nuisance. So let's get to the end. Let's see what he has to say in the wrap up. Here, we'll move forward to here. Again, this is Sam Altman talking about Elon Musk, who has attempted to buy his company for $97 billion.
That, DeepSeek will do whatever DeepSeek's going to do. Other people do whatever they're going to do. And we're just going to try to build the best technology we can and get it into people's hands. And I think that's mostly going pretty well.
Do you think Musk's approach then is from a position of insecurity about XAI?
Probably his whole life is from a position of insecurity. I feel for the guy.
You feel for him?
I do, actually. I don't think he's a happy person. I do feel for him.
Okay. Do you worry that he has this proximity to the president and that he can influence the decision-making of the US presidency and policies around this agenda on AI?
Not particularly. Maybe I should, but not particularly. I try to...
All right, there you have it. That's Sam Altman talking about Elon Musk, who's one of his primary competitors. I don't look. That's the first time that I've ever seen any kind of extended conversation with Sam Altman, and I can tell you right off the bat, he's a way more normal human than Elon Musk. The first time I saw Elon Musk sit down and give an interview, I'm like, oh, this awkward son of a bitch. My God, he's I don't know what he is, but he's at least got like a timeshare on the spectrum. I don't know. Elon Musk was weird from the get-go. Sam Altman seems like there's probably a little bit of weird techiness there, but normal. And I say normal by the way that he answered the question. There was anytime you can speak about a situation and then have a self-questioning realization like he just did, that means that you're a better formed human being than someone who doesn't. Elon Musk doesn't do that. Elon Musk in conversations is only stating what is best for him to say. And Sam Altman right there, he just said, they asked him, are you worried about his relationship with the president? He goes, no, not really. He goes, maybe I should be. That's self-realization. That's a willingness in your natural conversation to go with self-realization like that. That shows a way deeper level of humanity and normalness than anything you see out of Elon Musk's a weirdo. But how about that? I think he's a very insecure guy. I think his whole life is about being insecure. Frank says Elon is Edison. I'll go one further. I have heard, I don't know Edison. After everything that I've just said about Elon Musk, I'm going to say what I've heard and what I kind of think is more like what's happening here, especially now that he's got this great empowerment from the king. And I say king because of what I'm about to say. We know it's a president. We know that he's got, but a king. He's more like Da Vinci. He is. Elon Musk is more like Da Vinci, Da Vinci was empowered by the Medicis and by the Pope and all of this stuff to do. That's more the kind of person that I think Elon is. I mean, I think historically he's done, if he does Mars, forget it. He's bigger than Da Vinci. If he gets to Mars, he's bigger than Leonardo da Vinci. Okay. But yeah, I almost think Edison is like undercutting him, a little bit. I think that because of the space exploration and certainly now because of the way he's been empowered by the powers that be, whether that was, at the time of Da Vinci, the Medici banking money and the Pope and Rome and all that, or today having full access to the White House and able to basically do whatever you want. I think that's what it is. I think Elon's more like Da Vinci. However, it doesn't mean that Da Vinci wasn't a jackass. Da Vinci might have been a complete dick. He might have been awkward and who knows? Brilliant people are not like you and I. You know why? Because we're not brilliant. I know we like to pretend we are, but the majority of us, we're not brilliant. And we also don't like to hang around with brilliant people. You know why? Because brilliant people are weird because they're busy doing brilliant things. Anyway, moving on. All right, that's the Sam Altman and Elon Musk fight that's happening right now. All right, now I got something. We're just going to watch this. All right, I'm just going to put it up here. I'm not going to say anything. We're all going to watch it. We're all going to survive watching it. And we'll talk a little bit about what we just watched. Okay, so it happened. Luka Doncic has made his debut for the Los Angeles Lakers, so let's just sit here in it.
Out of there with it after an empty possession for the Jazz. And here's Doncic driving, puts it up, instead it's a lob. And Hayes with the slam. We know how Luka loves to lob it to his friends.
One's on that last one, but this is what Luka loves to do. He loves to get into the paint.
James hasn't taken a shot yet. Doncic has attempted one. On the switch, Luka's got the big on him. Tries the three.
All right, I think we're good. I think we don't need to see any more of that. Lakers won big. Luka looks good in that Laker jersey. Looks pretty natural. Gotta tell you, I know if you're a dyed-in-the-wool Mavericks fan and Mavs are your team and all that. I mean, I get it. The Bulls are my team. I get it. I couldn't look at Michael Jordan when he was wearing that Washington. I don't even acknowledge that. I don't even acknowledge that time period. Jordan didn't play for the Wizards. No, he didn't. Not that Luka is Jordan. Luka's not Jordan, but Luka is potentially. Let's see what happens in 10 years. Then maybe. He looks. I'm not a Mavericks guy. He looks good in the Laker uniform. I still hate that he's gone. I mean. So now let's talk about AD, Anthony Davis. He came over in the trade. Everybody be cool to AD. We don't need to blame Anthony Davis because you're all butthurt about Luka. I hate that guy. He had nothing to do with this. AD had to move too. AD got a phone call. And they're like, hey, pack a bag. You suddenly don't live in Los Angeles anymore. I mean, he didn't ask for this. This is, of course, AD's hurt now. That's, what do we get, 2 games out of him? The Mavericks got 2 games out of Anthony Davis? And now he's hurt for what, like a month? He's going to be out. Oh, God. What are you going to do? I don't know. Anyway, Luka Doncic debuts for the Lakers. He did pretty good. YouTube. Here's an interesting story. This is a very big moment. And it's not a big moment. Like, we're going to nuclear war with China. I mean, it's not a big moment, but it is. It's an interesting moment, and it's a moment that deserves to have a little flag pin dropped in it, so we can say, okay, this is when that happened. For the first time ever, YouTube. Okay, YouTube is announcing that people are watching their content, YouTube content. People are watching YouTube content for the first time ever with consistency more on their television than on their phones. YouTube has made the jump. This is a very big thing. YouTube has made the jump from something that people play on their phones when they're, waiting for a doctor's appointment or whatever. It has made the jump from that kind of a time waster thing to destination television. People actually now watch YouTube in their living rooms, and they watch specific things, shows, content. And I have to tell you, I have been doing this for a while now. I love watching YouTube on the big screen. This is why I always say like, desert island, You can only have one app. That's the one app thing if you're on a desert island. It's YouTube. It's YouTube for me. Give me YouTube. YouTube has all breaking news. YouTube has all kinds of commentary. YouTube, you need to be kept up on the world. YouTube. I think it's the most important information device that we have. Don't tell me about social media. I don't need that. YouTube. And for the first time ever, YouTube viewership on TV screens exceeds mobile for the first time ever. That's a big deal. All right, cool. I like YouTube. I'm a big fan of YouTube. YouTube's got everything, man. Guys, like if you just got like a wild hair, something that you're interested in, I'll give you a great example of this. So Virginia House McCaskey died, right, last week. And I was like, probably interested in that. For some reason, I got it in my head like a little bit of history. So I wanted to learn. I basically fell into a hole of like George Halas, early NFL, Virginia McCaskey stuff that was unlimited because YouTube has everything. Whatever it is that you're interested in, just search it in the Google bar and you will have thousands of things that are in the vein of whatever it is that you're talking about. So YouTube, I'm a big fan of YouTube. All right, let's see here. Let's talk about the Super Bowl. The Super Bowl occurred over the weekend, and because I did the Your Dark Companion, by the way, go like, follow, subscribe. Mike Ronder's Your Dark Companion. I did that yesterday, so I didn't get to talk about the Super Bowl very much. We had a nice Super Bowl. We were over with the E-Gallery folks. Mama E-Gallery and Grandma E-Gallery and Grandpa Phil E-Gallery and all of the E-Gallery crew, young Dom E-Gallery. They were kind enough to invite me and my son Mason to watch the game with them. We had the food. Oh, those people throw good. They always got the spread out there. We had smash burgers, we had wings, all kinds. The most impressive charcuterie board I have ever seen. It was quite a spread. Glad we got a chance to do that. The game itself. Now I predict. I mean, I was right and I was wrong. I mean, I was wrong. Like, if you want to be like, what did you think the game was going to be? I didn't think the game was going to be that. I think on Friday I predicted that the Eagles would win, so I got that. I predicted the Eagles would win. I said 27-24. Boy, oh boy, I did not see the absolute ass whipping that occurred. I will say this, I love this because it is true. It may not be true in the regular season. It may not deliver you to a 15-2 regular season record. But if you got one game to play and you've got the best, most dominant defense on the field, I'll take that every time. You can give me all the Joe Burrows and Jamar Chases you want. Those can be figured out. Those plays can be figured out. You give me a defense that'll absolutely defense wins championships. That's what they said, and that's what we saw. We saw an offensive juggernaut, or at least a team that we always thought was. Did you look at the season? I mean, my God, it's like they were scoring. They now not as great as they have been in the past. I'm talking about the Chiefs, but every one of their scores was 31 points put up, 27 points, 20. They put points on the board, and their defense was better earlier in the season. It kind of came back down to earth. I'm talking about the Chiefs. Talking about the Chiefs around midseason. Their defense kind of came back. Not the Eagles, though. The Eagles, everybody's questioning, all they got is Saquon, and people are like, I'm not sold on Jalen Hurts. Oh, shut up. But yeah, you are right. If you did have questions concerning the offense and questions concerning the coaching, Sirianni should be fired. That's what they were saying weeks ago. Dude just delivered him a Super Bowl title. Ryan Day, Nick Sirianni, couple of dudes vindicated. I'm wondering if Nico Harrison is in that group, huh? I mean, not with Anthony Davis being hurt, but Nico Harrison wins a title with the Mavs this year after doing the Luka trade. Do you still hate his guts? If you do, I think you're a fool. Silly. That means that you You are more interested in the hope that Luka might bring us 3 or 4 titles over the next 10 years is more important to you than actually fucking winning a title. If Nico Harrison delivers a title to the Dallas Mavericks this year, you people need to shut the fuck up. You people just need, because that's his job, to win titles. Not keep all of you happy in buying Luka posters for your bedrooms. No. At the same time, I think it was an incredibly bad decision that he made, and I don't see how they can win it all this year. But if they do, we'll have to all shift our attitudes there, and it won't be easy. But we will. The game itself, let's see, a couple of thoughts that I had on the game. So happy for Vic Fangio. Again, Vic Fangio, the defensive coordinator of the Philadelphia Eagles. He's been one of the best defensive coordinators in football for the past 30 years. For years and years. He was with my Bears for a long time. He was our guy. We loved him. And when we lost him to the Broncos, because finally, Vic was probably 60. He's like 60. He's like, all right, I'll finally take a head coaching job, because he's been a DC his whole career and a really good one. So he goes to Denver. He absolutely sucks as a head coach. I think last year he was in Miami, because I follow him. I think last year he was down in Miami doing something. And then this year he's with Philadelphia. And he got himself a Super Bowl. And that's great, because Vic Fangio is a cool guy, man. People like Vic. He's very, very Tony Soprano. I know that Fangio, what, all Italians? No, that's kind of his attitude. He's got a very Tony Soprano kind of vibe about him. People love him. People love Vic Fangio. So that's good. Didn't see much Taylor Swift or the president, right? And they kept the cameras away from that stuff. That was interesting to see how they did that. What else? Commercials? I didn't even see the commercials. I was at, the commercials were on, but we're at a party. We're talking. We're having fun. So I didn't see any commercials. I'm trying to think if there are none that stand out. There you go. That's Super Bowl wrap up, guys. I got nothing else. It was a blowout game. It was nice to see the Kansas City Chiefs get, this goes back to a conversation that I had over the weekend with my son. If you were listening to the Your Dark Companion episode, I'm the new one. I guess it was released yesterday. But I was talking with Mike Reiner about a situation I had this weekend with my son. My son, everyone knows, I'm a Chicago Bulls fan, and my son has been brainwashed into being a Michael Jordan, Walter Payton, Chicago Bulls, Chicago Bears, Chicago White Sox guy. I know when you put it like that, it sounds like abuse. I have forced my child into being fans of teams that do nothing but disappoint, but hey, so is life. So my son says to me, and I think at this point, I think he was trolling me, because this is what 15-year-olds do. But he turns to me. We were talking about the Lucas situation, and he said, "Hey, Dad, here's a question. Who do you think is the GOAT of basketball?" And I refused. I was just like, that's funny. And we're just driving, and he's staring at me. He's in the passenger seat, and he's just staring at me. And I'm like this. I'm driving. And I'm looking at him, and he's staring at me. What? He's like, "No, seriously, Dad, who do you think is the best NBA player of all time?" And I said to him in this moment, I go, "Shut up." Like, I think that's what I said to him. I go, "Shut up, man." I go, "What the hell kind of question is that?" Because this is how I communicate with my 15-year-old son. This is why we scream at each other all the time. It's meant in jest. I mean, we know we're not serious, but we do scream at each other. So I'm like, "Shut up. Why are you even saying, what kind of stupid thing is that? What do you think I'm going to say? What do you think I'm going to say?" And he goes, "Well, that's why I'm asking. Because, I'm starting to think that LeBron James is better than Michael Jordan." And I just, he said that. So I'm like this. He said that. And this is my response. He's saying, "You're him. You're just staring at me." He said that. And I went, for about 15 miles, I didn't say a goddamn word to him. Then finally, I just couldn't stop it. I said to him, I go, "What do you want for dinner?" And he goes, "Let's get Chipotle." And I go, "No." I go, we're getting Jack in the Box, because I know he hates Jack in the Box. I go, no, we're getting Jack in the Box. And he's like, what? Why? Why are you being a jerk? And I go, I don't know. Why am I being a jerk? Why am I suddenly being a jerk? So then he starts going into all of these arguments about LeBron this, LeBron that, and all of his arguments that LeBron is the GOAT of the NFL is based entirely on what are known as longevity stats. So I'm getting tired of hearing these longevity stats. I'm like, okay. And so I said to him, I go, dude, cool. Longevity stats. So that means you believe that Frank Gore is the GOAT over Barry Sanders because longevity stats. That means that you think Joe Flacco is a better quarterback than Joe Montana because longevity stats. I had nothing. Although, moving back to the Super Bowl, this was another example. And on the ride home after the Super Bowl, I kind of gave it to him. I said, oh, yeah, see, guess what? I just saw Patrick Mahomes lose again. I saw Patrick Mahomes lose another Super Bowl. Biggest stage, biggest game. I saw Patrick Mahomes lose. Not only lose, I saw Patrick Mahomes get his ass handed to him, and I saw Patrick Mahomes play the worst game of his career in one of the biggest games of his career, the Super Bowl. That's what I saw. You know who else I've seen do that? You know who else I've seen slink off a court with his head between his legs because he lost another title? LeBron James. I've seen LeBron James lose more big games than I've seen him win. You know who I've never seen and nobody's ever seen lose a big game? Michael Jordan. Michael Jordan never even went to a seventh fucking game. Okay? So don't tell me about the GOAT when there's a dude out there who nobody could ever beat. Over an entire decade, nobody could beat him. Him, Scotty, and Dennis Rodman. Dennis Rodman for 3 of those years. That's all he had. Should we go through the list of supporting players that LeBron James has shit the bed with? Okay? So that was the conversation I had with my son over the weekend. It was very tense. Very tense. But I love him. He's my buddy. We're best friends. That's where I stand. I'm not even looking at the chat room because I know that there's like an Adam Reyna saying some bullshit. Look at that. I don't see Adam. I don't see Adam saying some bull. There he is. There he is. There he fucking is. Adam Reyna. Did Jordan lose 2 college championships? What? What? At UNC? You talking about the shot that based? Did they lose the 2 years previous when he was like a freshman and only getting about 6 minutes a game? Or did they lose his stuff? They didn't lose when Michael was a junior. They didn't lose when Michael took over that team. They might have lost when he was playing behind James Worthy or Brad Doherty. They might have lost those. But when it was Michael's team, when Michael was the guy at North Carolina, no, they ran the table. They won. They didn't run the table. But you know what I mean? They won. Michael put up that shot. And also, not for nothing, Adam. But I believe I specifically said this debate was about NBA GOAT. You know, we don't know. We don't know how much LeBron would have lost in college because he didn't go to college. He didn't go to college. He jumped straight to the NBA and started racking up points in games while Michael played 3 years in college. Can we add Michael's college scoring to his pro numbers? Because let's do that. Anyway, these kids, it's about kids. It's about, look, LeBron James, LeBron James is, I don't even think he's second. And I don't have hatred for LeBron James. I think LeBron James is a much better human than Michael Jordan. I think Michael Jordan is one of the biggest jackasses that the world has ever produced. He's a complete asshole. But he's the best basketballer that's ever lived. You know? LeBron James seems like a good human being. He puts his money into things, and he's very active in helping people. He seems like a good person. Michael's an asshole. We know that. But I think Michael's a better player. I think Michael is number 1, and I think Kobe is number 2. That's my lifetime. Those are the people I've seen. I put LeBron at number 3. But yeah, it's Michael. I don't think I've seen Kobe lose. I don't think I've seen a game where Kobe has, not been able to carry his team to victory. I've seen plenty of games where LeBron hasn't been able to carry his team to victory. Never saw a game where Michael wasn't able to. All right, that's all we're going to do on that. But that was a big fight I had with my kid over the weekend. My kid knows Michael Jordan is better than LeBron James. But for some reason, he chose to say that to me in order to just wreck the mood. And I have to be honest with you, it turned into a much uglier conversation because at some point my son said to me, "Why do you do this? Why did you just totally change the mood of the car?" And I had to, in that moment, I had to think about it because I was the one who had totally changed the mood from being really jocular and fun to, now it was dark. Now it was angry. Now I couldn't even believe. I think I was just so blown away that he would even fuck with me in such a way. Like if this was he wants to fuck with me. Okay, that's fine. Teenagers fuck with their dads all the time. But to fuck with me in this kind of sanctified way, this is not. What are you going to say next? What are you going to say next? That Walter Payton was overrated? Get out of here. Hey, have you guys been following Kanye? I wanted to end the show, but we should keep going with Kanye. Right? What's happening with Kanye, you guys? My son brought this to my attention over the weekend. On Saturday, I think my son's like, "Hey, you see what he's getting into?" And I'm like, "What are you talking about?" I go, "Is he even on social media? I thought he's off social media." My kid's like, "No, he's back." And I'm like, "Oh boy, okay." So I went to the Kanye thread on Twitter. Holy cow. I mean, you guys know that Kanye West is a sick person, right? I mean, you don't just let's before we get into this conversation, let's establish that it's pretty clear that there has never been a high profile individual in the way that Kanye is, who seems to be so obviously suffering from out of control delusions of grandeur. I mean, he really does believe that he is like a god among the rest of us. And anything that he thinks is right, because for the past 20 years, he's been one of these people that has surrounded himself with people that he pays, and everything that he says, they go, "Oh, that's right, man. Oh, that's right. You're so that's how Kanye's living. He's also, I hate this. I hate when people do this. I hate when people they start diagnosing because I've been in therapy for a couple of years, I can diagnose things. Look, he's bipolar. I think that's clear. He's got delusions of grandeur. Any other person, if he was a plumber in your neighborhood, he'd be in a mental institution. They'd have locked him up for the way that he behaves. But he's got a lot of money. He's got a lot of influence, and he's Kanye, so he's allowed to do what he wants. He's his tweets. Okay, so what are his tweets? Oh, he hates the Jews. He talks about beating up women. He's okay with beating up women. He knocks his women around all the time. Is Diddy innocent? Is that what it is? I think Diddy's innocent, or it's not that Diddy's innocent. It's just that everybody else is doing that too. Everybody's check him out. I don't want to go into it. I was going to do a whole thing where I was going to talk about Kanye and his tweets. All right, let me just go to all right, let me just see what he's doing now. Let's go to Kanye's Twitter feed now. I'm not following him, and I feel like I probably should. I feel like I should be following him. Where is he? Why isn't Kanye's? I Google search. Not Google search. I search Kanye on Twitter. Kanye, pretty unique name. You would think that the first thing that comes up would be Kanye. So I got what? I'm going to search Yee. Is it Yee? Maybe Yee is why his actual address isn't coming, or his handle isn't coming up. Yee. All right, I got to follow him now. Now I'm stuck following this guy. Now I got to follow him because I'm not. All right, you know what? Forget it. We don't need to do the trick. Let's just see. So he started selling over the weekend swastika t-shirts. Okay, just a white t-shirt with a giant swastika. He sold like 1 million of them. Yee's website has been taken down following swastika t-shirt sales. Here's what I'd like to know. Because look, I'm glad they took his website down because it's selling, because tired of the normalization of these things. But also, I'm not okay with them being able to just take a website down because he's selling a t-shirt with a symbol that you don't. That's a real First Amendment thing. At the same time, this is why these things are complicated. At the same time, totally for it. Totally think that if you want to shut down a website because Kanye's ranting about crazy shit on Twitter and selling swastika t-shirts, you want to shut that down, fine. I'm not going to push back on it. But I do think it's kind of wrong. It says here, this is from billboard.com. Oh, you son of a bitch. Never mind. Everything's behind a paywall. So we'll go to People Magazine. People doesn't put anything behind a paywall. Kanye West's Yeezy website shuts down after selling swastika t-shirts as Shopify says rapper violated our terms. All right, so there you go. So it was shut down by the company who, in their terms and agreement with vendors, Kanye being a vendor, they state that you can't do this stuff. I'm fine with that. I am fine with that. Now, like the government shutting it down, that's nuts. That's a First Amendment thing. But okay, but if an individual business wants to say, yeah, you can't sell swastika t-shirts on our platform. What are you, fucking nuts? That is totally okay. I'm totally okay with that. So that's how his website got shut down. Shopify. Kanye West's Yeezy website is no longer online after the rapper received backlash for selling a swastika t-shirt. As of Tuesday, February the 11th, the site has been taken down in an error message that reads, "Something went wrong," and "This store is unavailable." A rep for Shopify, which processes the website's orders, told People Magazine that West's online shop did not engage in authentic commerce practices and violated our terms, so we removed them from Shopify. All merchants are responsible for following the rules of our platform, the online platform said. I want to see some of his tweets. They have any of his tweets? Okay, so here's some things, some backlash over Kanye's crazy weekend tweet storm. It says a rep for Shopify, which processes the website's orders, told People that West Shop did not engage in authentic commerce practices. All merchants are responsible for following the rules of our platform, the online platform said in a statement. During the 2025 Super Bowl on Sunday, February 9th, a 30-second commercial featuring the Gold Digger musician aired in local markets. In the ad spot, Kanye appeared to be filming himself while in a chair at a dentist's office. Here's a quote. I didn't see this commercial. Did you guys see this commercial? I didn't see it. It says, I spent, quote, from the commercial, I'm guessing, I spent like all the money for the commercial on these new teeth, said West while smiling, according to the New York Times. So once again, I had to shoot it on the iPhone. Oh, so it was an iPhone commercial? So Apple is still in business with Kanye? Like the night before, he's tweeting about how he likes the Nazis and the Jews are the devil and that he's now selling swastika shirts. So that's the night before. The next day, during the Super Bowl, Apple's got that guy going, buy an iPhone. Let's see here. Per Variety, the site... The disappearance of West's online store comes just one day after he was dropped by his talent agency. All right, so he's been dropped by his agency following anti-Semitic rants online. On Monday, February 10th, that's yesterday, in an Instagram story, music agent Daniel McCartney wrote, "Effective immediately, I am no longer representing ye, FKA Kanye West, due to his harmful and hateful remarks that myself, nor 33 or West stand for." All right, whatever. Anyway, everybody's distancing themselves from him. Just days prior, Kanye West posted a slur-ridden rant on X just 1 week after his unexpected appearance at the 2025 Grammy Awards. Oh, yeah, he showed up last week with his naked wife. And then like a week later, he's like, Nazis are cool. At the time, he praised Adolf Hitler and defended Sean Diddy Combs, who was currently in jail awaiting trial in May for several sex crimes. Diddy, 55, has pled not guilty to these. The heartless performer, I hate when they do this in these stories. Just fucking call him Kanye. No, we're hip and cool. We know his songs. The heartless performer also mentioned ex-owner Elon Musk's one-armed salute that he gave at the Donald Trump inauguration, which Musk responded to saying, "The everyone is Hitler attack is so tired." Okay, I don't know what this means. I don't know what's going on with him. I don't care. Kanye West is spinning off the planet. He's going full Gary Busey. That's a website run by Ye. It's now on TV. Yeah, they shut it down. All right, so there you go. That's the big news. We don't have to go through his tweets because they shut down his stupid website selling swastika shirts. I saw that when he posted it because I was following him at the time. He posted that on Saturday night. There was a picture of the T-shirt, and he said, "I've been wanting to do this with my fashion brand forever. I hope you all buy it," or something like that. And it was just a T-shirt with a swastika on it. I'm like, fuck. This guy is fucking, he just doesn't understand what that means to so many people. He is just completely lost. He has no tethering to terra firma. He is out there floating around. Kanye's nuts. Let's see here. All right, guys, that's it. That's about it. We're going to end the show here. Look at us. We're coming in 12 minutes early. I'm sorry. Trying to give you a good 2-hour show every day. I'm giving you one that's 12 minutes short. Appreciate you hanging out with me. Like, follow, subscribe. We do this every day, a rundown of all the day's hot topics, current events, and news. Anything that's happening, I'll try and find it early in the morning, and then we'll talk about it here every day, Monday through Friday. Tip the show like I'm your bartender, your pizza delivery guy, whatever. You can do that by hitting the Venmo. Keep this kind of radio on the air. Non-political, just regular folks talking about the very irregular world that we find ourselves in. All right, have a great day. Love you all. That's about it. Bye.